Welcome to Aligned and Uncensored, where we cut through the noise and talk real chiropractic, real leadership, and the real issues shaping our profession. We're your hosts, Dr. Ken Murkowski and Dr. Tiffany Newcastle. We're here with our guest, Dr. Dan Spencer, former president of the MAHA. He is the current chairman of the Chiropractic Summit, a national collaborative group focused on strengthening the profession, aligning priorities, and moving the chiropractic profession forward with one unified voice. He was in the room for that meeting, and today he's here with us to break down what happened, why it matters, and what this means for the future of chiropractic. Take it away.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much, Tiffany. Ken, thanks for having me on the podcast. I definitely appreciate it. As you alluded to, we had a great meeting in Washington, D.C. just last month. It came together very quickly. We actually had the leaders of MAHA that had requested to attend our meeting, actually by Zoom, at Parker, Vegas. We have 3 meetings every year for the Chiropractic Summit. And for those that aren't aware, the Chiropractic Summit is, as you said, it's basically all corners from the profession get together in one room, right? So we have colleges, we have supportive vendors, membership organizations like the ACA and ICA, One Chiro. We have regulatory bodies like NBCE, FCLB. So basically the entire profession coming together. This was a big thing for us, right? One of the summit partners actually, her name is Robin Abrams from out in California. She actually used to employ Tony Lyons, who runs MAHA Action right now. And as we all know, that's RFK Jr.'s group. Del Bigtree was involved. A lot of names that you would know. So it's definitely a big political force. And to me, it doesn't matter which side of the fence that you sit on. Republican, Democrat. I mean, we as chiropractors, we want people to be healthy, right? We believe in that tenet that we should be making America healthy again. So that's really what it's all about. And for chiropractic to get that recognition and to have someone in our corner, we just in 130 years, we've never had someone in our corner. So yeah, right. It's about time.
Yes,
in fact, we spend most of the time like coming at each other from the opposite corners, but now there's really a sense of working together and collaboration, I think, within the profession. In fact, the ACA and ICA are now trying to collaborate to their best ability on the Medicare language and the Medicare bill that we've had out for several years.
So important.
So, yeah, I mean, we know that as a profession, we need to get this done, right? Our doctors deserve fair reimbursement. It's about access for patients. It's just the right thing to do. Now, they may disagree a little bit on, how we get there, but I think the end goal is the same. So I'm confident that they are, really working hard to make that happen. So anyway, thanks to Robin for putting that together and her, contacts with Tony and others in the MAHA group. It's just a really exciting time to be part of that movement.
And as past president of the Chiro Congress, you've had an opportunity to go to a lot of different meetings. And I want you to share how this meeting was different than previous meetings you've been to and what the energy was like in the room and how you saw that progression.
I was president in 2019 and 2020, and that's the National Association of State Chiropractic Associations. So they're actually one of the summit partners, and that's always a great time at Chiro Congress. We're meeting in Louisville this year. We met in Boston last November. So really a great event. The leadership of the profession is there. That's one of our meetings for the summit. It takes place at Chiro Congress at the convention every year. We also meet, as I mentioned, at Parker and then FCA National. So 3 times a year we're meeting with the summit. So it's a different take and different mindset of what we're there for. Chiro Congress is really trying to strengthen state associations.
Right.
So that's what they're about. But then, of course, nationally, they're a great partner with the summit and also, taking a lead role in this MAHA Action networking that we have going on right now. So at this particular meeting, I think that there was that sense of collaboration. We realize as a profession, we just can't continue to fight each other. We have to find a way to move forward and to work together. That's the only way that things are going to change. And especially now that we have, someone that can really help us move our initiatives that we've just never had before. So definitely a new realm.
It's a lot to take in.
It is. It's awesome, though, right?
And how did MAHA get connected with this chiropractic summit and the movement? How did they get woven into the fabric of this?
So again, back to Robin, but before that, there were several prominent chiropractors that had, been friends with RFK Jr., maybe with Del Bigtree. Gilles LaMarche comes to mind, for example. He's been in it from the beginning.
Yes,
so
he has.
great guy. And actually, he started, they have like this teletown hall I think it's every Wednesday evening. And just right after the meeting, they said they hadn't really had a chiropractor talk about chiropractic. Now they'd had some other chiropractors talking about maybe some functional medicine. That's all well and good, but about the benefits of actually, adjusting patients. So Gilles was on that very first one, and now they've had chiropractors talking about chiropractic. I think on every teletown hall that they have, pretty much every week. So that came out of that meeting. Another big thing to come out of that meeting, maybe the biggest, they are actually developing a chiropractors hub for the MAHA group. That's actually really incredible. On their website, they have millions of followers. People from all over the country, follow this movement. So to have a chiropractic hub is huge, and they're actually working out in their budget right now to have an executive director for the chiropractic hub. And this is not coming from us. This is coming from MAHA. So really, really new and exciting.
So that surprised you.
Yeah, I was a little surprised to hear that, but that's awesome. So again, they're supporting us so much. I think we also want to support them. We want to get the word out about making
100%.
America healthy again. Obviously, financial support is always important too for these things. They don't happen for free. So
Absolutely.
What are the best ways people can support financially?
So actually, if you keep an eye out, there's going to be press coming out. You may have seen right after the meeting, Dynamic Chiropractic had, I think it was maybe a front page article about that meeting that took place. So just kind of keep an eye out in the chiropractic publications. Any group that you're affiliated with, in the near future, you're probably going to see some things like that. QR codes, makes it easy. But if we could just everybody give a little bit to efforts like that, and we have a couple others that I think we'll talk about as well. If we just support, these major initiatives in the profession, we actually can move the needle and we can make things happen that are better for our patients and better for our doctors.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
When you're in that meeting, I realize that there's all kinds of conversations happening. Were there any questions or things that were like, wow, that's like a really tough question? And I know you said that it's across party lines, right? Everyone
Right.
wants better health. But were there some things that were like very tough or very controversial?
I think the general topics that we talked about, pretty much our profession agrees with the problems that we have, right? So obviously the Medicare initiative, that's a huge one.
Right.
The profession agrees we need to change it.
Right.
How we change it, maybe we have some disagreement, but we need change there. Many other issues that, a lot of practicing chiropractors might not have even thought about. The big, beautiful bill that passed last summer, there's a provision in there which could be damaging in the terms of the amount of loans that students can get. So that came up. And they had actually, lawyers were sitting in that are part of the MAHA action group, and they were definitely taking a lot of notes and seeing how they could help, with some of these things, because we all know that, bills pass. Maybe it sounds good on one end,
Right.
but the reality is, it just doesn't really meet the requirements. It doesn't do what they thought it would do. So that might be an area that we could work on. And obviously that affects our colleges and our graduation rates and so forth too. So it's definitely important to watch out for all of those issues. And, just several other things. Insurance companies, we all know that's one of our favorite topics as MAC legal chair also. Yeah, one of my favorite topics, right? It's almost like they don't want to pay. It's
I can't
crazy.
imagine why.
So we talked
They're here to
about
help.
we talked about some of the issues that we have. Antitrust issues, the use of AI, for pre-authorizations and denials and things like that. Some of the trends that are affecting reimbursement that affect each and every office, right? So those are the big issues that we definitely need to work on. And the MAHA group was very interested in learning more about those issues.
About time we have some people pushing us in the right direction. Chiropractic is the largest natural health care provider in the world, and if we don't get these things ironed out, like reimbursement and issues with tuition in college and everything that the summit's working towards, what's the enrollment going to look like? What's the profession going to look
Exactly.
like in 20 to 30, 40 years?
That's the problem, right? Because we talk about this all the time too, is, the costs keep going up. The cost of an education, the cost to run a practice. Well, what has reimbursement done? It's the same or less, right? So how can you make a sustainable practice? The problem is the math makes it unsustainable. So
Correct.
Therefore, the question is, can I go into the profession today, amassing $200,000 to $300,000 worth of student loan debt plus whatever other expenses, and undergrad and then living expenses, and at the rates of reimbursement, it's not sustainable. So we have to make a change. And if now is a great opportunity, right, with this MAHA group and some of the other things, the Chiropractic Future Strategic Plan, I think we're going to talk about in a little bit. If we don't get behind these efforts, we only have ourselves to blame. No one else is coming to rescue us. MAHA, I think they're a great partner. I think they can help us a lot. But we have to do this as a profession. And if we don't, shame on us.
Yeah, this is an opportunity that we don't want to miss.
Exactly. Like I said, it doesn't take a lot.
We haven't had an opportunity like this.
But we can't afford to miss this opportunity either.
Yes, we all need to step up a little bit. If everybody just gives a little bit, we can get things done.
And talking about, you just mentioned the strategic plan.
Yes.
Talk to us a little bit about that. Kind of walk us through what that is,
Sure.
and what the goals are, and how it's kind of helped lead the profession in a way that makes sense.
So it's the best kept secret in chiropractic.
Yes.
Unfortunately, right? So the strategic plan, actually, our own Dr. Tom Clapp, our dearly departed Dr. Tom Clapp, it was really his brainchild. So if we go back, I don't know when it started, but the PTs had a national strategic plan. I understand that they are competitors to some degree, right? They have been very effective in running their strategic plan, putting it together and making things happen. Now you have doctors of physical therapy. They have direct access. They have a lot of things that were in their plan. As a chiropractic profession, we did not have a strategic plan. So Tom felt it was very important that we develop one. So he actually came to the MAC executive director, Christine Dowell, and myself, and talked to us about, how do we make this happen? So when I was president of Chiro Congress in 2019 in San Diego at our conference, we actually had a vote of the Chiropractic Summit, which I sat on as Chiro Congress president at the time. And then we also had a vote at Chiro Congress. Both were unanimous. We definitely needed a strategic plan. So I kind of got to work. I put together the committee, which included all of Chiro Congress, the board members, and Dr. Clapp was on it, a few others, Dr. Ray Foxworth, Dr. Jay Greenstein, great friends of mine. They have really helped quite a lot, especially with the formation. John Murray from Wisconsin was also on that committee. But basically, our charge was to come together, and my goal was to have it ready in 1 year. From San Diego
Lofty goal.
To the next, and it was a big goal, but we wanted it ready to go in a year. Well, what happened in 2020? Anyone recall March of 2020? There was this.
It was a peaceful time.
There was something, I don't remember what it was.
We thrived. Chiropractic profession thrived.
Yes, right?
We did.
Because we were telling the truth. Yes.
Exactly.
However, in some states, there were some significant issues. Colorado, basically you had to be losing a limb to see your chiropractor, which was a problem. Kentucky had shut down chiropractic offices. Now, thanks to the MAC, Michigan was going to shut down chiropractic practices. They didn't think that we were vital enough or essential, right? Well, thanks to the work of the MAC, our offices were able to stay open. And we explained why that was. If people were, they needed care, where were they going to go then? To the ER? You don't want them in the ER, right? So those are the type of issues that our very existence, right, and staying open and serving patients. That's what we were doing for many months. So the strategic plan had a slight bit, of a setback there, but we did have it ready to go in about 18 months. So now it's still relatively new in the profession, right? I mean, it's been about 6 years now that it's been kind of up and running, but a lot of docs just don't know about it. So if you go to chiropracticfuture.org, you can see everything. We're very transparent. That's one of the things that we do. transparency, inclusion, collaboration. Those are the principles that we thrive on. And we've got different work groups working on the governmental affairs. That's the one that I serve on. There's the reimbursement task force. We have several other groups that are really, trying to push that needle and move the profession forward. We have some of the top people in the world even. Heidi Havik, she is chair of the research work group. They're doing some amazing things. They had, we actually funded a student to go to Dartmouth and get his degree from Dartmouth. He's basically a chiropractic researcher now, and we made that happen. Dartmouth doesn't give an education for free, right? So again, it's very expensive. It takes some funds. So you can, get involved if you want to do something with strategic plan. You go to the website, you can sign up to be a volunteer if you want. Or if you'd rather give, $50 a month, $25 a month, whatever it is, you're going to help these initiatives that are actually going to help society and help you in return. But if we don't understand that and we don't fund it, it's not going to continue. So we definitely need to get on board if we want things to change.
And the data that Heidi Havik is putting out is
It's amazing.
Undeniable.
Yes.
For
Totally.
years we've been labeled the redheaded stepchild of healthcare because of lack of data and all these other fallacies, let's say, that we all knew, but we just didn't have the raw data to prove it at the time. And then you see her growing her team and being supported by organizations like this and putting out the research that only will help us get fair reimbursement, but push through any negative thoughts or opinions about the profession, what we do and how we do it. And it's great to see it to life. But again, if you don't support it
it takes some funding. Yep.
Yes.
And now we have a lot of volunteer hours, but again, things do take money. And I think you talked with Brad Cost about the data lake. Huge
Absolutely.
project. Amazing what we're going to be able to do with that and the research that we can pull that Heidi can use. That's working together as a profession to move the profession forward. But again, it just doesn't happen on its own.
And as it's 6 years since the strategic plan was started, implemented, and now going, what have you seen in those 6 years working through the goals and the plan that maybe you started with and now where you are now?
Yeah, the evolution.
There's been definitely advancement in a lot of areas. So again, speaking to the GA work group that I serve on, we developed we call it the GA Hub. Basically, version 1, we went through all the states and we determined what the scope of practice is in every state, and it's all in one place. So you can see that on the website. Version 2, we're focusing on reimbursement issues. Right now we have a survey out to each of the states to answer, many important questions so we can identify areas where, say, a state has better reimbursement, in certain laws or something like that. Well, other states could model that. They could say, oh, they have this. We're looking at getting Medicaid, in our state, for example. Or we have this, this
new modality,
equal pay, or whatever it is, right? So by having the information, then executive directors and boards of state associations can use that information and say, okay, 47 states allow this certain thing like sports physicals that we're working on right now here with the MAC. Why don't we have it here in Michigan? So when legislators or others see that data, they're like, yeah, that kind of doesn't make sense, right? It's pretty overwhelming. Why are we being left behind? So we can use that to our advantage and move the profession forward in that way. Just, again, so many different areas that we're working on, and I encourage everyone to go to that website and check it out.
And what was that website?
Chiropracticfuture.org.
Chiropracticfuture.org.
Yep.
Say it 3 times fast. You'll always remember it.
That's right. You'll never forget it.
If there was one thing that you wanted our listeners to go and be a part of besides chiropracticfutures.org, where would you have them be a part of the summit, to go to learn more about MAHA? What avenues?
So, the summit, they're probably represented in some way.
Sure.
So whether you're a member of the MAC, ACA, ICA, One Chiro, you have representation at the summit with all of these different groups, right? So that's not necessarily an individual thing that you support, but that's the profession. And we don't ask for money from the profession, directly from members. That's not our job there. Our job is to get the different facets of chiropractic in one room talking to each other about common issues and find common solutions. That's really, our tagline is we want to communicate, coordinate, and mobilize. And that's really what we do at the summit. So again, Chiropractic Future Strategic Plan, huge opportunity. I just hope that every chiropractor can check it out and give a little bit there. I think that's one of the biggest areas that the everyday practitioner out there can make an impact on our profession. Also, as I did mention, and you mentioned, Tiffany, was the MAHA action group. You're going to see some requests for donations there too. Again, if everybody can give a little bit, this is a huge opportunity. So again, it doesn't take a lot. It just takes a lot of us.
Right.
And when you're trying to fundraise to a degree, what is the biggest obstacle, in your opinion, that kind of gets in the way of getting everybody on board and moving in the right direction, and even just saying, all right, let's say $33 a month. There's 33 chiropractic principles, $33 a month. What do you think is the biggest hurdle that's preventing people from supporting $33 a month?
So I think it's two things, and they're probably related. One is understanding the value, and that's part of the reason why I'm here, is to try to explain that value. There's so much value out there. We could talk for hours about everything that the strategic plan is doing. Docs just need to take a few minutes and go and check it out for themselves, and then make that commitment to support that effort. Because without the commitment, it's like Tony Robbins says, there's 10 birds sitting on a fence, 9 of them decide to leave. How many are on the fence? 10. They made a decision, they just didn't take action.
No action.
You got to take action. So if you can understand the value, which I hope we all can, take some action, take the step, put it on your credit card. $25 a month, $50 a month. You're not even going to miss it. It will make a huge impact on the profession and your livelihood down the road.
And as you said earlier, the MAC was able to stop the state from deeming us as non-essential personnel.
Correct.
And that was in large part because of the members that have helped us out and the support that they gave our state association. And then the change happened and we were open during this.
And the relationships that we had fostered over the years.
Exactly.
Right.
And if you put that on a national scale, well, now we're starting to really change the profession and the speed of which we can change things.
Yes.
It's been, to borrow a Tom Clapp phrase, it says the speed of darkness.
Exactly. It moves at the speed of dark. Well, we need to speed that up a little bit, don't we?
We're trying. Yeah. That's what we're doing. Or that's what we're trying to do.
Exactly. But if we don't try, what happens then?
And what keeps you going and so motivated is passion. We can see the passion coming from you right now. Where does this passion come from? And
well, my dad was a chiropractor. I was raised in a chiropractic lifestyle. I was adjusted when I was 45 minutes old. Look how great I turned out, right? So
cream of the crop.
Hey, you're not supposed to laugh at that.
Cream of the crop.
That's right. No, so I want everyone to have that opportunity, right? There shouldn't be the economic barriers that exist and the stigma and all these other things, right? It comes down to the patients that we serve. It's just better for society. In most cases, we know chiropractic should be your first choice, not the last resort, or not if my insurance pays 6 visits, so I don't want to come to 7 times. Again, it's just like we were talking about the value. If we can understand the value, and we know what it is, if society can understand that value,
to communicate it,
right? To communicate and get them to, I don't want to say buy in, but that's sort of it, right? To understand, to see the benefits that they could derive by seeing a chiropractor. I always say in my practice, we adjust anyone with a spine and or nerve system, right? I think that everybody that has a spine and or nerve system should see the chiropractor on a regular basis.
Yeah, to be evaluated.
Right? I go to my dentist twice a year. I don't have a cavity, right? Yeah, be evaluated. That's what it's all about. Why do we not see 100% of people?
Because they don't know.
And whose fault is that?
Ours.
We need to do better. And we can do better, and we will do better.
And with organizations and with support, we can push that needle.
We need the support. That is the key. And we can definitely push the needle. We know we can do it.
Now, as you have given so much time and effort into all these different organizations, and you've had a unique chance to meet people from around the country and see how different states do things, and I know there's certain states that practice a certain way.
Right.
When those meetings come together, those representatives from different states, it's a lot of collaboration, and I've been there and I've seen it. Has there ever been anything that you've taken from another state that wanted to bring to Michigan, or wishes Michigan would show other states how to maybe get some more traction and lay some ground rules for its members to give them opportunities to succeed the way that we have here in Michigan?
Well, first of all, I'm glad you asked that question. My very first Chiro Congress event, back when it was called the Congress of Chiropractic State Associations back in 2010, that's in Scottsdale, Arizona. And I was blown away with, the willingness of the MAC especially to share what we had started and, just strengthening the state association. It starts as easily as, just the membership tiers and how we did that and how we run conventions and all of that. The MAC was basically teaching all the other states like what was really working. We didn't need to reinvent the wheel. So that was one thing that we were able to share nationally, because if that helps, all chiropractors, it also helps us.
Of course.
Right?
Right.
As we talk about,
profession.
MAHA and these efforts, the Medicare issue, all of that. I think there are, a lot of things that the MAC has learned from other states as well. And again, just having that knowledge of what is out there and what has been done. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. That's what Chiro Congress is all about. And of course, the summit to some extent as well, right? We just want to work together and do what is working for the profession and enhance that.
I really hope that we start to get more people involved. And, obviously part of why we're doing this is not only to give back to the profession, but to get the message out there, to make sure
Yes.
people are hearing what's going on. I think it's very easy sometimes to get in a routine, whether it's in practice or everyday habits or life, and put the horse blinders on and just kind of do.
Yeah,
I
just in your
understand.
practice, but you're not in
Exactly.
the profession.
Correct.
But you can't be on an island,
You
right?
can't be.
Yeah, if you're on an island, eventually, that's going to present some very unique challenges for you. We are part of a whole profession.
Right.
It's our duty to really support that profession as it supported us.
Exactly.
And I would you say that this is the most connected you have felt the profession in your years of practice, either of you? Or would you say that we're getting closer to that? This has never happened as far as the commonality, the connection, the togetherness.
I
that we're
have
operating
never
with.
seen a better time than 2026 for our profession coming together to try to actually make progress. This is just since Parker Vegas was in February.
Yeah.
So just a couple of months, I have a lot of hope right now.
Well,
that
just the fact that you said the ACA and the ICA are in the
I
same,
know,
like
right?
that, just that in itself has been something I never thought would happen.
The quote was 90% agreement. Now, hopefully we can get that other 10%.
90 is
But
amazing.
it's close. They're very close, but they are committed to, getting that done. We have to get the Medicare issue done because it affects so many other programs and not just Medicare itself. I mean, it's ridiculous. There's over 70,000 CPT codes that are payable. How many do we get paid for? Three. Technically, it used to be one. It used to be one. Now
Hands-on,
it's three.
Hands-on.
Yeah.
one
One.
procedure.
But there's actually
yes.
3 codes that
Yes.
are payable. So we, at a very minimum, you should be paid for E&M codes, radiology codes,
Absolutely.
physical medicine codes. Those are things that really that subset of the patient population needs tremendously, and there shouldn't be those barriers. They can go to the ER, they can go to, get medication, all of that, right? We know that what we do is way better and much more cost effective than those
long-term, for sure.
Exactly, right? So we're helping society not only being healthier, but also economically.
Right.
So it just doesn't make sense to us as chiropractors that we don't get reimbursed for those services that are so vital.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, why get paid for what helps you form a diagnosis, a treatment plan, and give the very best
I know,
you
right?
possibly
Just
can?
yeah.
That doesn't
No,
make
you don't
sense.
need
Lay
to
down.
exam, do you?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
it's-
Who needs that, right?
You walk in, you move some things, and you're good to
Yeah.
go, right? That's how
Yeah.
it works.
Apparently, that's what.
That's what they thought we did.
Since 1972, that's what they thought. When
That's what we thought
they
they thought
put
we did.
chiropractic into Medicare, and it hasn't really substantively changed since 1972.
That's
we went
ridiculous,
from,
isn't it?
We tripled the number of codes, right? 1 to 3.
Wow.
Another
Wow.
70 years, we might get to 6.
That is the
Yeah.
speed of dark.
Well,
Yes,
but,
it is.
but we need to change that, right?
Of course.
We need to work on that this year.
Yeah.
Now is our chance.
And there's never been a better window.
Exactly.
And I think we have people in Washington that are ready to support this with just a little extra movement and effort. I think it will pass.
Would they say the stars have aligned? Well,
Yeah,
this
I
is the
think this
first
is it.
time I've felt that the stars have aligned with an opportunity. We need to take that opportunity. And I'm not talking, don't wait till September to
Right.
do something. Do something today, right? Go to Chiropractic Future. Check out MAHA. Become involved. If we don't, again, we only have ourselves to blame.
Yeah. Take the action.
Yes, take the action. Understand the value. If you have questions, I'm here.
No,
All right.
you would never want to just talk all the time.
I'm a little shy. I'll overcome it for the profession.
Well, just one more way you're giving back.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I want to thank you. We both want to thank you
Absolutely.
for being here
Thank
on
you.
Aligned and Uncensored. It has been an absolute pleasure. And thank you for really feeding the passion and the spirit to all that are listening and hopefully inspiring to contribute any way, shape, or form, whether it's through showing up and being part of state or organizations, national organizations, donating money. I think we've heard enough that there's really no excuse for anybody to not contribute, even at a bare minimum level.
Just
Right.
a little bit.
Just an
Again,
adjustment.
power is in numbers,
Yep.
right? Over 70,000 chiropractors. I mean, can you imagine if everybody gave $25 a month?
Just
We
that.
would get these things funded. We would have all the money we needed to move that needle.
And then some.
So, right. And thank you for not censoring me, too. I thought, maybe I would be censored, but it's aligned and uncensored.
Uncensored.
So, yeah.
On the contrary, I would like you to be as uncensored as possible. That's better content.
Just a little uncensored.
Not as much as Heidi Avik, though.
Well, she does take the cake, but because of all the things and data she has, we're going to let it
You
slide
let it
as much as
slide.
she needs to.
Yeah, let it
yeah,
go.
of course.
Yeah.
We don't want to
She
take
is
away
great.
her right to speak freely.
Exactly.
No.
Freedom of speech.
That's right.
Even in New Zealand.
Even in New Zealand. Well, Dr. Dan Spencer, thank you again for joining us and all the work that you do. We greatly appreciate it, and we look forward to talking to you again in the future.
Awesome. Happy to help. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.